Hello. We are back finally to the dreaded Carrionclan main character challenge video. Before we get into it, just an overall warning for descriptions of violence. I don't show anything in this video this time, but just a general warning for anything that shows up in Warrior Cats is generally what I'm going to be talking about. So that's death, violence, blah blah blah. Another year passed. The growth from the previous year feels more obvious to the members of Carrionclan. There are new faces, apprentices play fighting and bickering through the mountain territory, a diligent warrior that has blended perfectly, and a group of kittens that the warriors have to step over on their way to the duties. Well, the end of the first year was bittersweet. Leafall appeared with happiness, a clan full of new life. Besides the survivors that hadn't made it before, it felt more alive, more like Shade Clan was before. Russeteagle couldn't help but feel optimistic. There was fresh blood and new births of the clan, giving hope that Carrionclan would live on. The loss of her best friend was unfortunate, but she's been able to find closure and comfort in her new friend, Dukeism. Before we start talking about all the things that happened this year, we have to go visit StarClan once again. In the third year, sadly, 2 cats have died. On the 25th moon, poor Sandkit, Palesight and Whitefoot's daughter, got kitten cough. This must have been a horrible case because she died the moon after getting it, leaving her sister, Dry Kit, a lone kit. For a little moment off topic, I really don't know what kitten cough is. I've looked it up a couple of times and looked through all of the Warriors Wiki for any mention of symptoms, healing, etc. Anything I think that could be useful to deciphering what this kind of is, and nothing out there is helpful, except for a mention of it appearing in the books once or twice. So, headcanon-wise, I think that kitten cough is a common cold. Okay, I think it's just for little babies like Sandkit, it's a lot harder for them to fight off a common cold than it would be for her parents, who are adult warriors. Any adults who would catch it and probably have a weaker immune system, and kits are naturally weaker. I also think that it can be passed pretty easily by adults being carriers to it unknowingly. So they might come into contact with this common cold and not really be affected by it, but pass the symptoms on to younger cats and create a outbreak of kitten cough. And for anyone who is interested, I might have called Sandkit something like Sand Mask or Sand Face. Unfortunately, we'll never get to see her as a warrior, but she did live a pretty nice life as a kit. The other cat that died is a little bit more upsetting to me. During a difficult and blazing greenleaf, Coyote Shadow got sick with heat stroke. He begrudgingly retired to the medicine cat den at Barkdawn's request, only to feel depressed and upset by being confined. Though Barkdawn helped Coyote Shadow stay cool, drinking from wet moss and dunking himself into a nearby river, it wasn't enough. Coyote Shadow had a seizure. I can never say the word. A seizure in the early morning just before the moon turned over, and he passed away. His symptoms had gone unnoticed for a little too long, and when he did get a medicine cat's help, he was already quite ill. He was Medicine Den bound in Moon 33 and passed away in early Moon 34. While I mention this in the future, when we get to the correct moon, Kaiigus' death has left the question of deputy up in the air. While I most likely could have put in our girl Russeteagle into that spot, I didn't. I looked for the highest experienced warrior that looked to be in a pretty decent position, also taking into account who had apprentices before and who didn't, and I ended up with Red Stride in that position. If the deputy position at any time moving forward opens up, Russeteagle is probably gonna be put in that position unless we've moved on to another era, and then I'll reassess then. Anyways, new additions. This is a lot of cats, so I'm going to try to hurry through this. There are 10 cats that have joined the clan in this moon, or in this year, and oh boy, it's just so much to go through. So let's start with our first cat, or dare I say kitten. We have first Frostpaw. While this was found during a moon where I was like, maybe we should start thinking about like not letting any more cats in. I think we have enough. I decided to go for it anyways. Ravenstar, Palesight, and Whitefoot in Moon 28 were all looking for food. It was chilly leaf bears, so each cat wandered away from each other to find more prey, and they looked around and underneath all of the nooks and crannies that they could find. Whitefoot ducked underneath a few branches of a bush and found a small gray lump in the snow on the stone. He thought for a moment that it was just a really large mouse or a bird, but quickly discovered that it was a kitten. At the age of 4 moons old, the kitten was barely alive and malnourished. Thinking about his own kits back at home, the one he had lost, and just the one he had left, Whitefoot scooped up the cooling body and brought her back to camp without thinking. Frostpaw was in the camp at the time and helped also without thinking. The kit was healed up, fed enough prey to have her full, and given a warm nest in the nursery to sleep. It took a while to learn that the kit, who welcomed the name Frostkit, had been abandoned by her mother as dead weight, and that no cat would come looking for her. Frostkit has since been welcomed as a full member of the clan, and is 11 moons old at the end of the year. She's still an apprentice, and will most likely earn her warrior name at the very start of the next year. I absolutely adore her design, and I think she is a great addition to give some fresh blood. The next group of cats is a huge amount, and absolutely one of my favorite that we've gotten to see. So Palesight and Whitefoot announced a second litter of kits in Moon 31, and they were born in Moon 33. We had a huge litter of 5 healthy and squirming little kits. The big litter makes it so that the 4 youngest warriors are all going to get a chance to have an apprentice, and it makes it so that Palesight and Whitefoot are in the forefront for the amount of kits that are born. At the end of the year, they're all only 2 months old and have barely had anything known about them, but I'm going to discuss them anyways. So going from left to right, we have first Skykit. He's impulsive and quick to help others, often cleaning up his own little messes and mistakes. I think that he kind of looks like Ashfur from the Warrior Cats books, and can only hope that he doesn't end up with a similar personality because of that impulsive nature. Nearly identical to Sky Kit is Silk Kit. She's troublesome and has darker fur than her brother, but a very similar design. She also has two different colored eyes, and I just love her appearance. Most importantly, she's got the extra trait of being oddly observant, and I think this is how she makes herself feel like a little bit more of a pawful. Immediately in her second moon, she was up to no good, so I can't wait to see what trouble she gets into when she grows up. Just like a mini-me to her mother is Silver Kit. She has the same pale color as her mother and will only be told apart in the future due to her pretty heterochromia eyes. Silver Kit is very noisy and quick-witted, making her cries of attention almost always paired with a quickly thought-up story. This gets her into a lot of attention from the others, but also a lot of worry. She plays loudly, and a few of the warriors are concerned about this, and she also gets frequently babied because of her kind of boy who cried wolf situation, so she's always pretty angry about that. Next is Lizard Kit, my favorite of the bunch. Lizard Kit is the odd kit out, being born as the only non-gray kit in the litter. She's just my favorite. I love her. She's a little daydreamer that likes to sit in her own mind, and like both Sky Kit and Silk Kit, she's quick to help and oddly observant. I want to see her grow up. I love her so much. I love Lizard Kit so much. I think she's so silly. Lastly, Grey Kit rounds out our Pale Sight and Whitefoot kits, and you know, she sure is gray. That's she's just very gray. To me, and to maybe also her parents, I think that she looks like a little gray version of Sand Kit, and that makes my heart hurt. She's so cute and sweet, and I wish you got to know her older sister. On top of that, she's a polite little girl that doesn't want to grow up yet. Also kind of reminding me of Sand Kit. She's also quick to help, and I think Pale Sight is definitely one of those moms who would teach her children to pick up after themselves. So I'm sure they're all pretty used to cleaning up their own messes at this point. Moving on from those 5 kits, we have another parent. In the last patrol of Moon 35, the last patrol of the year to be exact, we had Red Stride, Whisker Cloud, and Russeteagle patrolling the borders while they stumbled upon an exhausted Tom that smelt strongly of 2 legs. Shell, the cat they found, explained his tall tale about escaping his human's house, and if they knew a safe spot where he could hide his kits. While Russeteagle was all ready to let them into the clan, Red Stride, as deputy at this point, was a bit doubtful and was really won over by the kits as they all came out of their woodwork. They were brought back to the camp and gladly given more clan-based names. Shelfer is what Shell became, and he's really quickly adapting to clan life. His life as a kitty pet was as a breeding cat. His humans had a pair of cats, him and a queen named Mimsy, who was his mate, and they were only there for their kits. Sadly, Mimsy went into labor when her humans were away and ended up passing away without any medical help. The 3 kits were able to survive, however, until the humans provided them with care. Shell was smart enough to pick up on what his humans were saying, and that regardless of Mimsy's death, the kits were all going to be sold. He planned a way of getting out of the house with his kits, and managed to do it one night when a window was left open on the 2nd story. With the help of his kits, they climbed up onto the roof, and his kits, who were just smaller than him, managed to slip through the roof's gutter drain down to the bottom. Shell jumped onto a tree with a risky, dangerous jump and managed to make it to the ground, where he reunited with his kits. They fled into the night and went into the mountains nearby for days on end until they managed to reach clan territory and were saved. Now the kits, who I love. I love these guys. I think they're so great. So Shelfer's 3 kits are all very pretty, and they're all 5 moons old, so they're going to be warriors probably this time next year. The first is the absolutely gorgeous Dragonfly kit. She's the cat in the back that you can see. She's insecure and an active listener, often going along with what anyone else says or encourages her to do. Like her siblings, they haven't really had any chances to show their personality, but I like to think that being in the clan will make her a little bit more bold. I also love her. I love her so much. She's so pretty, and this is like deep cut River Witness lore, but she's named after a really old Warrior Cats OC of mine who was named Dragonfly Kit, so that's where her name comes from. I specifically gave her that name. The next is Snake Kit, who is below Dragonfly Kit. She looks like she's wearing pants, and I love that. Much like Dragonfly Kit, she's insecure, but she's interested in clan history. I think that she's most willing to fall into the fold of the clan and absolutely can't wait to become an apprentice, even if she's worried about what being an apprentice actually entails. Last but not least is their brother Carrionclan. He's polite. Oh my gosh. Henry! Henry! I apologize if the cut or whatever here seems really abrupt. I had to go deal with my cat. Anyways, Carrionclan. He's polite and has an active imagination, which probably helps Snake Kit come up with all sorts of funny and wild ideas for the apprentices to do. I think that Snake Kit and Carrionclan both adapt a lot better to the clan and are very chaotic together. I think those two, putting their heads together, could come up with all sorts of fun warrior and apprentice games to play. For a little bit of extra content, I like to think that all of Shelfer's kits didn't have names originally, and they were all instead allowed to choose a name for themselves, which was whatever they wanted to name themselves. And given all this freedom, they just ended up naming themselves after 3 different animals that they encountered while on their journey. Anyways, finally moving on. We have a very, very boring year. I'm not even going to like sugarcoat it or pretend. Year 3 is so boring and lackluster. This is exactly why, if you haven't been following along my community tab, I'm just gonna be trying to rework how I frame these videos so it's less boring. Moon 24 is average moon. Both Ermine Paw's sister get up to shenanigans, as Olive Paw hurt her paws while running too fast, and Frond Paw disappeared for a few days, only to come back with a collar around her neck. If it was anybody else, anybody at all, who had a collar that was jingling around their neck, it would have been concern or a huge plot line, but Frond Paw does not care. As a medicine cat apprentice, it doesn't really concern her. So Later, Russeteagle leaves camp without telling anyone and returns to camp with a gift for Olive Paw for her hurt paws, which I drew here. And later than that, she goes on a patrol with Ravenstar and Ermine Paw to train, and it's a good training session where Ermine Paw is praised for his enthusiasm. Like I said, a lot of these moons are going to be really average, but 25 gets a little romantic. Palesight has healed from her litter, Whisker Cloud is feeling better from his blood loss, and Olive Paw's paws feel better. With all the things to do, Barkdon doesn't pay attention and sprained his paws, and this is when Sandkit gets kitten cough. She will be sadly deceased in the next moon. With this moon so heavy with healing, it only makes sense that Russeteagle is thankful for Barkdon's healing. She's glad that her previous mentor, mate, and apprentice's sister are all okay from their injuries. While Whisker Cloud was in the medicine cat den, Russeteagle was a little too busy to stop by and say hello, so later when he's gotten out, the two go on a moonlit stroll together late at night. Dew Chasm gave her a bit of a warning about Toms and romance, which rubbed Russeteagle the wrong way, but there was no bad intention with it. Also, something that was cute was Olive Paw complimenting Russeteagle's fur, which I thought was just really sweet. Later, Russeteagle, Redstride, Olive Paw, and Ermine Paw all go training together. It's again a good training session. Moon 26. I love this picture. I think it's really cute. It's also kind of a sad moon though. This is when Sandkit dies, which is our second death in the clan, but also 2 cats have gotten injured. The same dog that killed Shreempemble finally found the clan again and almost killed Whitefoot, but Redstride fought it off and got badly injured on his leg. Ermine Paw also got injured while spending time outside of camp, getting frostbite on his nose and foot. Russeteagle spends some time eavesdropping on Olive Paw. For why, I don't know. She's also spending more time with Coyote Shadow this moon for some reason. Later, she goes out with Olive Paw and Frond Paw to look for herbs. They find raspberries and blackberries together, and it's just an all-around successful time. I had a really fun time drawing the raspberries and blackberries, and I really like the cute little collar. I think it's so cute. Moon 27 is another average moon, but also kind of where we see a little bit of shift in the narrative. Coyote Shadow gets a poppy to wear in his fur for the first time. Sadly, it won't last too long because he'll be getting sick soon. Whistleheart gets her paw stuck in a 2-leg trap, and Ermine Paw gets a running nose, but Barkdon's sprain has healed. Russeteagle wants to get to know Whistleheart better, likely sympathetic due to her injury. Later, Ravenstar promises to always look out for Russeteagle, and the two have gotten pretty close with each other. I think Ravenstar probably sees Russeteagle would be a good potential other deputy if he ever wanted to pick someone else other than Redstride. I think it's also fair to mention that Whistleheart, being very insecure while she is the oldest, does not give her too much leeway in this bid for deputy. Most importantly, and specifically for this drawing, Russeteagle notices that her apprentice, Ermine Paw, has been restless in the medicine cat den and helps teach him all that he needs to know, even though he's unable to leave his nest. I wanted to show her resting with him and him being quite pleased that she's there for him. Yeah. For patrol, Russeteagle has taken over the training of Olive Paw temporarily because Red Stride is in the Medicine Cat Den, and so is Ermine Paw. She's just here to take over Olive Paw's training, and they have a nice time sharing hunting tips together. Moon 28 has a little bit of chaos in it. This is where there is a lot happening as the moon turned over, so I'm just going to try to go through these as quickly as possible. Coyote Shadow sprained his paw, Whiskercloud's broken bone has healed but is weak, Dewchasm has yellow cough, Olive Paw gets a collar on her neck, marking both of Ermine Paw's sisters, to have collars. Ermine Paw is healed but scarred. And last but not least, Dry Kit is now Dry Paw with her mom Palesight as her mentor. I don't get a proper space to talk about this at any point because the focus is really on Russeteagle, but I would like to mention that I think that Dry Paw is Palesight's apprentice, particularly because she's a little bit worried about letting her daughter go too far from her. That's just my theory. So this moon, Russeteagle is eavesdropping on Coyote Shadow whenever she went to visit Ermine Paw or barked on in the Medicine Cat Den, and Whitefoot is a little bit creepy this month. He finds a bit of fluff that smelt like Russeteagle and puts it in his nest, you know, the nest he shares with Palesight when she's out of the nursery. A little weird to me. This could be a thing that friends do, but his romantic like for Russeteagle is making me think a little bit differently about that. And Russeteagle also feels a little bit annoyed with Dry Paw when the apprentice is eating a prey that she wants. Later, we have Palesight, Russeteagle, and all three apprentices going out to learn how to climb cliffs. Dry Paw is overwhelmed when Palesight tries to help her out, and I wanted to show Russeteagle trying to be both helpful and maybe a little bit overstepping her place by trying to talk to Dry Paw. Moon 29, we have a moon with struggle for some reason. Olive Paw has gotten sick with yellow cough, Frostkit snuck away and was heavily scolded. Besides that, Russeteagle is down for some reason. I think probably because Olive Paw was getting sick this moon. I think that she's liking being a mentor and being around kits and helping, and now that she's kind of just not training two apprentices anymore, she's a little bit bummed. She was also noticeably distracted when Red Stride was telling her a story, which caused some tension. I thought to draw that, and I finally remembered to put the herbs in his pelt this time. Later, she was found being thoughtful to Dry Paw, which made the apprentice surprised. I think they had a little bit of a conversation or turnaround after their initial combatants. And later, Palesight, Russeteagle, Ermine Paw, and Dry Paw. Henry, okay. Sorry if you heard that, but you probably did. That was Henry sitting on my headphones and making my tablet fall. Because he has no understanding of personal space. Okay, just chill. Chill, sit. Yeah, so Moon 30 has a lot of stuff happen this time as well. Coyote Shadow's sprain has healed. Whistleheart has her paw removed, unfortunately, so now she only has three paws and 4 legs. Thankfully it's only the paw and not the entire leg. Dukeasm has healed from her yellow cough, Pale Sight gives Dukeasm J feathers, and there's a few ceremonies. Olive Paw and Ermine Paw receive their warrior names together at the same time. Very reminiscent of the Warriors books, where siblings are actually apprentice and made warriors together. That doesn't always happen in the game. So now we have Olive Dawn and Ermine Fang. No complaints, I actually like these names. Olive Dawn is childish now, and Ermine Fang is adventurous. So I'm glad that he turned out to be not lonesome or aggressive in any way. Lastly, Frostkit became Frostpaw and Whitefoot's apprentice. So Russeteagle has a funny little status saying that she could catch even the most paranoid rabbit and that it would be absolute no match for her. So with this interaction of surprising Frostpaw with something nice, I think that she went out rabbit hunting and brought it back to the Medicine Cat apprentice so she wouldn't feel too bad about her siblings becoming warriors. And for patrol, she goes out with Ermine Fang and Whiskercloud on an uneventful border patrol. I wanted to draw her with the rabbit initially, but I decided to just have her and Ermine Fang together after his warrior ceremony, or probably during it. I don't know, I just wanted to draw more of him. Moon 31 is a really nice picture. I really like this picture. It's also another really simple small moon. Redstride gains a weak leg from his injury, but he's healed now. Olive Dawn has healed from her yellow cough. Frostpaw gets a stomach ache, and Ermine Fang has gotten a running nose again. I think this is like the second time he's got one. Dukeasm surprisingly believes she's part of a prophecy, which is definitely food for thought. I do not know where that will come in, if that's anything, but it's definitely something to consider. Also, Pale Sight once again announces that she's a queen and going to the nursery. Russeteagle takes special notice in the two apprentices at this time, looking at Drypaw's apprentice journey, and is seen talking with Frostpaw, which I depicted here. Russeteagle goes out on a hunting patrol with Ravenstar and Whistleheart later, and they miss their catch. 32 is a little interesting. I actually really like this event. And it finally, this entire year, I was actually given enough to work with. Whiskercloud has gotten a running nose, while Ermine Fang has gotten over his. Frostpaw has gotten a stomachache and is also given her full name of Frond Glare. Russeteagle is once again watching over Drypaw's apprenticeship and making sure that she's fitting in. I think that she, in some terms, feels kind of guilty about Sandpaw's death and wants to make sure that it really works out with Drypaw. Later, we see Coyote Shadow watches Russeteagle being considerate with Drypaw and giving useful tips and tricks from whatever encouragement that her mother gives her. So Russeteagle is also seen with Redstride, both laughing and wondering about Shade Clan without them. So it looks like that besides Drypaw, she's kind of being close with the deputy. During the patrol is where we get this juicy drama and where this image comes in. So Whiskercloud and Russeteagle go out to train together and just spend time alone as a mated pair. In a lull of their training, she asked him if he has any idea why StarClan is ignoring them. I think at this time the two are actively trying for kits, but maybe not having it stick and Russeteagle is kind of wondering if StarClan has made her Baron as like a punishment or something like that. And Whisker Cloud is absolutely no help at all. He tells her that she should be happy to be out of StarClan's attention, and I think this is possibly due to the fact that he has a weak and injured leg. He's unaware that this is unusable advice, and he leaves Russeteagle frustrated and disappointed. I see a bunch of fractures in their relationship every time. Sometimes we'll get a really cute thing, like they go on a stroll at night, but then we also come back to the other side of the pendulum where we have an argument like this where they're just not working together at all. So I'm definitely thinking there's a possibility that I might just break them up if they have another huge argument like this or a huge disconnection, because I don't think the game will autonomously break cats up unless one of them dies. So this is a decision I may make for Russeteagle because she does not deserve a man so stinky. Moon 33. We have Russeteagle's probably worst moon around this year. So this is when Coyote Shadow gets heat stroke, and while Whisker Cloud gets his running nose, he once again gains fleas. In better news though, Palesight and Whitefoot have their kits, so new kits, lots to be thankful about. Russeteagle, however, is being a little bit sassy, a little bit sneaky, a little bit living up to her nature, and she's spreading rumors about her clanmates. I think that this was a particular jab at Whisker Cloud. I think that she's frustrated with everything that I mentioned previously, and that she really hasn't gotten much over this jab. From what we've seen, she really likes kits. She loves being like a mentor to all the apprentices. I think that being a mother is just an obvious next step for her. I think she would love it. I think she would love her kits so dearly, and it kind of baffles me that she hasn't had any kits yet, because besides being like if she was just unable to have kits in the first place, or her mate Whisker was unable to have kits, like it's fully possible the game just hasn't done it yet. So more drama. Later we have Coyote Shadows being surprised to find out that Russeteagle's life isn't very easy, and that she's got all this relationship drama, and she tries to hide all of this, the fact that it's getting to her, by being kind with Red Stride, complimenting his fur. Russeteagle avoids going out with warriors and instead chooses to go with the medicine cats whenever they need an extra pair of paws this moon, and they go out looking for moss but weren't able to find it. I will say, however, this image is my one requirement every year, that I have to give her an image where she is with Whistleheart. I think that I can't go a single year without it. Moon 34. I love this picture so much. I think it's so precious. I love Grey Kit, I love Lizard Kit, I love all the kits, man. I think they're so cute. I also think this is kind of where our biggest shift happens for this year. This is the moon where Coyote Shadow dies of heat stroke, and he's mourned by Ravenstar, Whistleheart, Palesight, and Barkdawn, which is his leader, his half-sister, his former apprentice, and his closest friend. And I think that kind of resets where everyone's social standing is with each other, because again we have Redstride as the new deputy from here on out, and Russeteagle, I don't think she was expecting to become deputy. I think she's more of like the clan mentor. She puts her nose to the grindstone and spends some time around camp keeping an eye on everything. I really like to think that she's trying to patch any holes that a sneaky or clever kit and or apprentice might want to use to sneak out of camp. I think she's enlisting the help of the kits to see where their mind is at, what would attract them to sneak out. She's also very sneaky and clever in her own ways, so she's probably found a bunch that they wouldn't even dream of, and I think she just wants to keep everyone safe. Also, she realizes that she was being a little too harsh with Drypaw and kind of takes a step back from throwing her hat in that ring and trying to be another mentor for Drypaw, who is doing alright. Though I will say I think she is kind of partially taking over because Palesight is in the nursery now. Sadly, this patrol is a little trauma-inducing for our poor girl. While out with Whiskercloud and Redstride to patrol the borders, they sent the dog, the one that's wandering our territory. Redstride was equally as worried, especially as a new deputy, and they kept note of it, but they all returned to camp, and they are kind of really worried that this dog has not been killed or injured. It's just growing older and stronger, and maybe they can wait it out. They don't know how long dogs live, but maybe they can wait it out. Maybe they can outlive it and they'll never have to deal with this dog again. But for now, it's kind of just a looming threat that makes everyone concerned. Last moon, we have we end kind of on a sweet note. The only thing that happens is that as the moon turns over, Whiskercloud gets rid of his fleas. Other than that, Russeteagle has a good time sparring with her clanmates, and she's doing a lot better emotionally. I think getting to spend some time away from her mate is what she's needed. And she ends up talking with Whistleheart after sparring, and she kind of just trauma dumps all of her relationship issues. Whistleheart is a really good shoulder to cry on, and they grow a lot closer. Russeteagle later talks with Redstride and helps him work through something difficult. It's really likely that it's his worries as being deputy, but I also like to think that it's a smidge a little bit about his crush on Russeteagle, which she actually kind of reciprocates. Possibly those two will end up getting together instead. Who's to say? I don't know what the next moon holds for us. The patrol later we have is Russeteagle and Redstride and Whiskercloud. They find Shell and his kits. Again, as I mentioned before, Russeteagle was really willing to welcome them in, and Redstride eventually agrees. Russeteagle seems to be the most willing to accept outsiders in and boost their numbers. I also think that she just really wants kits and is like really nice to all parents that the clan comes across. So yeah, I'm glad that this episode wasn't an hour long, and probably most definitely a better, different format for the next year, which will probably not be out for like a month or so. I'm gonna try to do a community post about it to get more specific, but basically my idea is to do another destruction ClanGen video next Saturday, and then do the Beetle Clan videos, because I still haven't gotten they're both 50-50. So I'm probably gonna do year 0 and then year 2, and then another destruction challenge, and then probably Russeteagle video should be out. Yeah, since I've already finished doing the Tuesday Talk episode that's gonna go out after this video, basically when I'm recording this, which is literally Friday night, yeah, Saturday should be when I'm starting to work on the Beetle Clan videos, so I think I'm going to start with year 0 first and then do year 2 after that, but, yeah. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more, if you're hyped for changes that might be made to the formatting of this video, if you're just interested in anything behind the scenes, feel free to check out my community tab. I'm trying to post some updates, and I might potentially go further into details on what I'm thinking about doing with the video, so see you later.